Welcome back to FM26. This is episode number 7. I'm coming back to start the new season a week earlier than the prior years. We're going to catch the FA Cup. Now, the reason why, twofold. One, we've got an interesting challenge on our hands. I have no idea what the level of our opponent is, and maybe it would be useful to check on that. But we're going to see a lot of different faces for a couple of reasons. One, injuries have struck again. 3 starters, 3 attacking starters, and key guys, 2 of our best players and one of our better players, Huxtable, Jones, Colwell, out. Now, in the case of Huxtable, we're looking at 1 to 3 weeks for that injury. Just happened a couple days ago. For Colwell, we're looking at 1 to 4 weeks on this one. And for Jones, less than a week. So he should be back in time for the season opener. One would hope the other 2 are going to take a little bit longer, but this is the same problem we ended up with at the start of last season. Quite a few injuries to kick things off. But in terms of the new faces, well, 1, FA Cup, you get 7 on the bench instead of 5. Also, 3 injuries. That's 5 new faces in the lineup compared to normal. And so the first brand new face, James, one of our best U18s players, is going to get the start on top. I only have 3 guys suitable for the striker position. And Renshaw has been the backup to Huxtable in the past, but he's better as a midfielder. We play him regularly as a midfielder. He's not a very good striker. So James, I'm going to give him a chance to see what he can do. But also making the bench is both of our wheel guys, our wonderkid wheel guys. So Lawrence Jenkins would get the start as we are out of attackers. Not a single attacker is above our gold star guys, except for Greaves. And he's really only a left winger. And that's Lawrence's position. Amore's the other one, and I'm kind of tempted to give Amore the start over Renshaw today. But Renshaw needs to get into condition, and he is kind of a regular in the lineup. But I do have a feeling that Amore is going to see some time this season. And, in fact, you know what? Screw it. He's in better shape right now than Renshaw is. We're going to give him the start. It's a little bit of a drop off for that position, but that's okay. Let's do it. Opponents are lining up in a 4-4-2 diamond today. Let's see if we can take advantage of the wide spaces as a result. Or we're also going to have to try to defend narrowly, one would assume. This is a road game, and it's wet. And it's kind of rural. It's neighborhood, just village. Well, we get underway, and I think our defense is going to be fine and solid. It's the offense I worry about, but we get a chance right off kickoff with Greaves just missing wide. Gets that free header in very, very close, but cannot direct it the way he needs to. Loughran do it pretty well. Loughran is a regular veteran for us. He's played plenty, just not regularly a starter. Right, good ball ahead. Ferret finds James. James gets a nice chance there. Fairly well placed in the corner, but it was curling left to right. And so as it was headed for just inside the corner with the curl where the keeper was, had a little more space to work with and get that. Nice smart play there from Freer Arndale, heading that back to Smith Sim. Freer Arndale now starting the counter, but laying it off for Loughran. That's kind of a messy pass right there. Slowed it up more than sped it up, but there's Greaves coming on through, just about getting a free header. I think he had maybe a little bump there on that one, but it's been all us so far, even though they're the favorites to win this game. I haven't seen the preseason predictions, but we are so young as Greaves. Another. That's Loughran to Greaves, Loughran to Greaves, Loughran to Greaves, again and again. 4 times already. Intercepted there. Now Loughran on the counter attack again. Will he get another cross into Greaves? That time it's deflected out for a corner kick, but Lofgren is just tearing it up down that right-hand side. We have the bulk of the possession. We have all of the shots. Finally, we come in from the left side, and that's cleared out for a throw. That was out for a throw. Wow. Thought that was a corner kick. Greaves into Ferret. Ferret. Ooh. Tough angle to be able to hit that one inside near post, but he did have that on target. Keeper actually did pretty well to get over to that. Ferret and Lofgren starting to do well. Not sure why Greaves does not have a better rating, but I guess it's because he's not scoring. He's getting headers on target. Ferret lays it off for Greaves. Greaves loses that one. There's a reason to lose your rating a little bit. But a tough play. You got to bring the ball under control before you can do anything with it. And if the defense is able to take it away from you the moment you're trying to get it under control, that's about it. Freer, Arndale on the underlap and pushes it wide. Was that a shot? Was that a cross? Hard to say. Greaves possesses well this time. James loses out, but he's recovered. Gets Ferret inside. Now right, Kilgore. Okay, there's a more. First time we've seen that. Nice through ball there for James. Good idea. James nearly gets a step onto that. If he overcuts, underlaps, if he steps in front of the keeper there instead of trying to go past him, he might get to that ball first. Lofgren lays it off inside for Arndale. Gives it back. Amor. Okay. Takes the early cross. We're going to get another stab at it. Lofgren. James. That's blocked. Corner kick. Right now, it's a matter of when, not if, we are going to get a goal. Amor is going to attempt to shoot on that one, I think. We were chasing it down like it was a cross, though. Either way, it was overhit. The young teenager, so far, not showing much, but getting this experience will be good. And I talked late last episode about the possibility of taking those two, Amor and Lawrence. James with a chance. Good save there. Could have been placed better. That was pretty much down the middle. But getting those two first team experience will really help their development. Also, getting them training with the first team will really help their development. Now, I've already seen, as they get a free kick in a fairly dangerous position, they've done absolutely nothing. This would be so FM for them to take the lead here against the run of play, but no, they don't. Actually, I really haven't seen the getting FM'd much at all in FM26 as of yet. Amor, that was a good pass. James, nice layoff there for Lofgren. Back to James. Nice, beautiful give and go. How is there no assist? That was clearly an assist, but okay. It's 1-0. Was it kicked off of Lofgren's foot? Did the defense poke at it? No. It's deflected. I don't see how that's not still an assist just because he got a little piece of it. He didn't change the trajectory of the ball other than it drove it into the grass a little bit, but it was a low cross, and it ended up a low cross at the exact same target point that it was aimed for. So unfortunate for Lofgren not to be credited with the assist, but never mind. He has an assist next to his jersey there, so they gave it to him after all. Just didn't show up on the board at the time. Lofgren has been absolutely tearing it up. Lovely that we've got this 1-0 lead, and hopefully we can keep that going, extend that lead further, get some more young guys in, as there's definitely some more of them on the bench today than is normal. But here goes Lofgren again. He's finally going to take his first attempt of the game. A little bit high. Well placed to the corner, but just too high. At least a foot or two. We should have won that ball back, but Cato does eventually win it back for us. But our clearance is less than desired, but Fry makes a great clearance there. And here goes Lofgren yet again. Taking the sideline, taking what they give him, now laying it off for Arndale. That is such a dangerous duo as Kilgore. Flag stays down? No, flag is up. Flag is up. Guy warming up on the sideline had me fooled for a second that he was some artistic AR. Right. Greaves. He had a more for the pass, but didn't send it to him. Ferret. Greaves. Good possession here. Ferret's going to take the shot there and bang that off the corner of the framework. Looked like that was simultaneously post and crossbar. And end of highlight, even though we were in a dangerous position. 21-2 on the shots. More goals very much should be coming. Possession, though, is starting to inch away from us as they must do something now that they're down a goal. But we're all over these guys. None of their ratings are particularly terrible. In fact, their goalkeeper rating is quite good. For us, though, James, Ferret, no idea how Greaves just has not managed to do more. Fry with his one big play has a good rating. Defense hasn't had hardly anything to do, but you would think that Freer Arndale would have a little bit more of a rating. He's been involved with Loughran there down that right-hand side a lot. Not time for subs yet. Game's far from decided. Not that the FA Cup is important down to this low level, and we're not going to see the high level as Loughran instantly beats his guys. Way too much at the keeper, though. He had a lot of goal to target from pretty close range, and he sent that one straight down the middle. Certainly could have done better. Really did their keeper a favor on that occasion. Amor, good ball to Loughran after he had a hard ball coming into him. Loughran's going to take it all the way to the end line, lay it off for their Freer Arndale. Little back and forth. Beautiful play. James was offside, and there's the flag. From that angle, he shouldn't have tried to just control it. He should have just tried to tip it in or step out of the way and let it go in, because the keeper wasn't going to stop it from the looks of it. Little redirection would have been all he needed. Loughran beats his man into the box, takes it inside. He's going to shoot, and this time the keeper actually does make a good save. He forced him into a much more difficult one, but it was up by the shoulders. It's where the arms naturally are. It's easier to make a save up there than it is down low when you have very little reaction time. A lot of the time it's better to keep those low. Now we've played an hour, still yet to put this game away. I'd really like to get this second goal and just put it away. Here's Greaves. Lots of space. Takes it into the box. Cuts inside. And there's the keeper. This guy's got to be approaching like a 9.0 rating at this stage. He's made 17 saves. We've had 18 shots on target. And only some of those, not many, have been easy saves. He's made a lot of really good saves. Ferret inside. Another very good save. Easily could have been a goal. That was not impossible or anything. It was a ball that can be saved, but certainly wasn't the easiest. And the guy just keeps making them one after another. Right, taking the corner. Now 70 minutes have gone by. Inside right. There's the goal. Keeper got a piece but couldn't do enough to palm it away, as he did on so many other occasions. And finally it's 2-0 and we've put this game to bed. Let's pause and make those changes, beginning with Greaves, who has really been quiet today. He had so many headers early on. We first and foremost want to get on Lawrence Jenkins. That's the big thing. I want to let him get a chance to play. Kakande is somebody I would like to get a chance to play. We'll sub out Kato. Renshaw can go in for Kilgore. No. Amor can swap. Okay, we'll make those 3 subs. Oh, keeper did not get a piece of that one. That one went just above the arm. It was just a little too high, where the outstretched arm couldn't get up to it in time. Right, does well to keep that in. Lawrence Jenkins now into game, getting his first touches that we've seen. Ferret, give and go. Back to Lawrence Jenkins. That's deflected and kept in. Could have and should have been a corner kick for us. It was a good play. Here's a bad counterattack situation for us. Their first big chance of the game, and it goes close, but no score. 35-5. That would have been a very FM thing to have them tie this thing up before the end, with that one having been a goal. First chance of the day, and put it in after we've had a dozen chances and only just now managed to get that second. James was probably offside there. He's going to beat his man. He scores. No flag. No flag. No idea how we've gotten away with that. Because it was onside. It was onside. That was a very long ball. He ran to it and then stopped to let the ball fall in front of him. And there you go. He's placed it into the corner. James hasn't had that many chances for the position he's in. It's come to the wingers mostly. But that's James's second goal of the game. Smith Sim got the assist there. That was a long ball all the way from the keeper. Fry up to Ferret for Arndale on a yellow. 80th minute. We can find him a sub if I have somebody. James looking to get a third. No idea if he's looking for a natural hat trick. Trying to remember what his first one was. Was it a left foot? Second one was definitely a left foot. Got an offside situation there, but Ferret intercepts. James has a little bit of space to work with. He's going to try to chip the keeper. Keeper was not far enough off his line for that one. Probably should have played the through ball for Ferret. Not that it likely would have worked, but it really would have set Ferret up well. And time's almost up. Let me get those last couple of subs in before it's too late. We'll get Kalis on for Andel with that yellow card. And Ferret's had a nice day, but let's go ahead and get him out of there for Maloney. Give him a chance to finish the game out here. The day has very much felt like it should be 3-0. Fry lays it off for James, and James gets his hat trick. I look like his left. Did he get all three of them off his left? Well. Getting James here into the lineup has been good. This is going to be really good for his confidence. And I think we're going to give the opening game of the season here next week. We'll definitely give James the start. He's earned it today. We've had 41 shots and a beautiful better than 50% ratio of on target with 24 of them, 3.5 goals of XG. This score was entirely deserved. A month into the season, I was really impressed. We had those couple of injuries, and yet we were second in the league. Then we had a couple more injuries short term, and we didn't fare as well. Form started to drop, and we find ourselves having a real rough time over the last month, and we're in the bottom half of the table right now. But it's not all bad. We are finally starting to get somewhere with not one, but two updates or upgrades that the board has been willing to get. One, right before the season started, training facilities. They said yes. That's going to take us from a 1 of 20 to a 3 of 20 or a 2 of 20. It picks off kind of some round number and then it goes +2 each time. So we're getting somewhere. It's not going to be the worst anymore, and that's going to help us develop our players. Also, just today, junior coaching budget. So the three factors that go into it, one of them has finally gotten approval to be increased. Junior coaching budget being a current ability kind of thing. It's not going to impact potential ability, but it will impact the current ability of the players coming in, making them a little bit closer to first team level. We're also starting to see a little bit of progress in a couple of the players in their development in relation to others on the team. Kakande has gone from 2 to 2.5 stars. Silver, though. Scott Jones and Ryan Huxtable were our 2 5-star guys. This is according to our assistant manager. It might not be accurate, but Campbell Wright, Danny Fry, and Freer Arndale all jump from 4.5 to 5-star ratings. Smith Sim goes from a 1 to a 1.5 star rating. Kilgore has gone from a 2 to a 2.5 star rating. Cato has gone from a 2.5 to a 3-star rating. Ferret has gone from a 4-star silver to a 1-star. As the club heads into the month of December, we find ourselves where I predicted we just might be, and that is right on that edge of promotion playoff zone. Right now we find ourselves just 5 points off of leading the league, so things are going really well, but we are 5th place, winning 3 straight and a plus 13 goal differential. That part alone, find ourselves third in the league. So if we can keep this up, we might have a little extracurricular at the end of the season. In the meantime, you see training ratings continue to be pretty good for most players. There's only a handful that aren't progressing particularly well, and a good chunk of those are actually those reserve bench players that are there for a reason, and actually going to very likely be the first set of players that we have with expiring contracts that I'm going to allow to lapse. Now that we've had a couple intakes, we've got a U18 squad. We've got enough of a U18 squad where those guys are all getting regular time. There's a few bench players even there. Some of those players, a couple at least, and we've already brought up 2 anyway, but a couple of those are going to be ready to make a jump. They've made enough progress to eclipse some of the players, and the weakest 2 to 3 guys of that first intake, as good as it was, are weaker than the best of the players of the last 2 intakes. And so we're going to let those couple weakest guys go at the end of this season. We're going to let a couple of the second intake guys go without giving them a professional contract, as their youth contract's going to expire. So ultimately there is going to be as many as 4 or 5 players this year with an expiring contract, and then as we get a new intake and 16 players and pick the 7 or 8 best, we still ultimately increase the squad size by another 2 to 3 players, but that's about it, letting the weakest of the weakest go. But right now, a guy like Danny Fry has had the best training. We're also seeing, unlike previous seasons, where all of the player ratings, average-wise, all of them was still below a 7. All of a sudden this season, not quite the case. I've got those 5 or 6 best players have ratings above a 7 and starting to assert themselves on this league. Danny Fry is fairly loyal, fairly good personality. His value is now 8 to 12K. We've already got contracts for everybody. There is no more having, or at least not currently anyway, having to manipulate anything. No safety net. We have all of the team on new contracts, able to sign them, able to make deals with them, make promises, do what's necessary to keep them with the club. The right way. The normal way, the way you would expect. You see Danny Fry right now is really taking off. We're seeing some very rapid development. You can see decisions, that's kind of neighborhood of picking up a full point in a short period of time, marking, strength, all going up rapidly, and we're starting to see good scores. I mean, we're these 11 to 13s, well, his pace is still lacking, but mentally, 15s, 13 to 15, 12 to 15 for 4 attributes, and a number of others that are coming up as well. And even technically, a couple of 11s, he's definitely starting to get there and be what is necessary for us, and he's one of our guys with an overall rating of a 7.08 this season. Now, in terms of that development, here is that rapid and recent progress. It's the decision and marking that have come up in the last little bit. You can see here is that growth. This would be an injury back in his first season, which took him a little bit of time to bounce back from. If we're looking at where he was, Danny Fry was a 1-star player. He's now a 5-star player. He was a 4.5 star. He was a 4-star. He was a 3.5 star. So he's really come along. And as for the attributes to go with it, well, not much had changed, right? The assistant manager being a big part of that. There's his first real period of growth, but that would be season 1, and that's the later half of the season that happened. Then in season 2, earlier in the season and at the end of the season, he saw 2 big growth periods where he picked up attribute points and now into season 3 right at the start of the year, and continually from there he's picking up attribute points so far. So really 4 big growth periods, and a lot of that is it's incremental. You're gaining, and a lot of those aren't going to hit their marks at roughly the same time. But 4 big waves of attribute point gains is truly making him a much better player than what he was before. And don't forget, and when you're speeding through time, it's hard to do this, but don't forget to praise them for that development. Help keep that morale high, keep them happy, and keep your relationship with them good as well. It's not just about they're happy over how they're performing, so right now they're happy, but what happens when they're not performing? You need that good relationship to keep them happy and to then manipulate them back into being happy by letting them know it's okay. Gamble Wright's a player that's training well, but is not getting quite the same level of development. So it's definitely a mixed bag. Some of these guys are developing rapidly. Some of them go through periods of like really taking off where things happen, and others it's just a little more gradual, like Kilgore here. It's very much more gradual, but his vision, his decision making is getting better. His passing's an 11. He's got bravery and aggression and very much good decision making. One thing I just did 2-3 weeks ago, I had a few players with individual training focuses, but that's a great way to especially specialize with their position to pick up something really important positionally for them. So Kilgore is anchoring that defense as a defensive mid, so his defensive positioning can really help him recover the ball for us as play goes on. So adding those individual training focus will give them 2 or 3 specific attributes to get an extra focus on in training and extra development on. And now that we have a coaching staff, now that we've upgraded our training facilities, I feel it's the right time to start making those individualized focuses, and you could change them over time. So if you find you have a guy who's really slow, like Danny Fry, you start putting on quickness, and now all of a sudden you got a center back who not only can defend, but can defend and chase when needed. Cato's got that same quickness training happening right now. We have a real pace problem with our back line. As we move into January, our form remains top notch, and this is how the finances have been working out of late. We had dropped eventually to $5.5 million last year with that slow decline because of the heavy tax burden. Now for this year we still have a tax burden, but it's not $200K a month. It's 15K a month, and as a result we've been able to turn a profit throughout the season. Not a big profit. This month it was $35,000. December was a little bit busier than other months. Most of the months have been about $25,000 to $30,000, but it is profit. So we are rebuilding the coffers, and we do have a healthy balance at near $6 million. But something's going to have to give if we're going to continue to grow. And I'm wondering if, as awkward as it is after our previous situation, we might need a new stadium. Biggest problem is we only have $6 million, so we would have to go in debt to make it happen. And then how do you pay for things when we're barely turning a profit right now? Now, of course, if it went crazy on ground maintenance again, we would have a problem. But we had a second upgrade that saw us go from that 4.7K to the maximum 5K that this stadium can handle, and none of the problems happened that time. It was a very quick, short, easy upgrade because we were only adding not even 300 seats. So fingers crossed we wouldn't encounter that bug again on the next occasion. It would get it right as it did essentially the second time around. So it might be time, because we certainly have the fans, and right now the finances making $35,000 a month. It's not nothing, but it's definitely not going to get us very far very fast. And if we are doing things, increasing budget, players are getting better, we're going to potentially climb the ladder soon, this year, next year, whenever, but we're going to see increased salaries. And then all of a sudden you're looking at dead. So this might be the time to start pushing the board for a new stadium that would obviously have more seats. I'm just worried about the cost. I don't think we have it here and now, and I just don't see how we're going to get to a stage where we can get it anytime soon. But we're going to go ahead and ask. We'll see. The board has been very keen on doing that themselves, so maybe they'll be ecstatic that I'm asking them for this new ground. Meanwhile, we find ourselves in second place in the league and starting to pull away from third place. However, there's 4 teams tied behind us. There's a further 5 teams within 4 points of that, so there's still a lot of congestion here at this part of the league, and things could still change very, very quickly. Port Chester has been kind of running away with the league so far, but goal differential wise, we're second in the table. We are right where we belong, and I wouldn't mind not winning the league. That's okay. I wouldn't mind losing promotion playoff. I wouldn't mind it taking another year, especially depending on what happens here with this stadium situation. Update on squad dynamics. First time we've looked at it in a season or two. Team cohesion and dressing room are great. Also, we are finally starting to get some diversity in our hierarchy, where we had just, I think it was 3 players that were influential while everybody else was others. That has grown. At the start of this season, we had 1 highly influential player and about 5 influential players. All of a sudden, we've seen that tip over to another level. 1 leader, 2 highly influentials, and 7 influential players. So we have a proper hierarchy in the club now. We have a leadership structure with great cohesion and a strong locker room. This is what you want. The other thing, though, is we did form a new social group. So there is a secondary group now where we did not have that before. And somebody has some sort of issue. Oh, it's because we gave him a new contract and he wanted a coaching staff upgrade and wanted to play specifically as an inside winger. And I did set the inside winger, but a bit late. It's Colwell. And here's also a problem that's going to start messing with that locker room a little bit. Cato, now that he's starting to emerge and develop at a quicker pace and be good for this level, suddenly he's got interest, particularly from Sunderland, though there is at least a few other clubs that are also interested. The knock-on fee, of course, is where they get something. They don't want to pay us any money up front. Arrange the friendly, that's good money maker, but no, we're not gonna. That's not his value. That's nowhere near his value, so we can reject that. But it's gonna upset him probably. Yeah. Next day, 7:07 in the morning, he's in asking if we can talk about it. He's not gonna be happy no matter what I say, so we're not even gonna talk. I'm just gonna let him fester on that one and be a bit of an issue. Let's just hope he can pull it back together soon. Okay, here's our board response. We have considered your request to build a new ground, but the club currently can't afford to do so, meaning they absolutely just said yes, but they just don't have the money. This is our first transfer saga. We have 1 week to go in January now. January is important because for the higher levels, they have a window that closes here at the end of the month. Dates can sometimes be off a little bit based on weekend kind of stuff, but regardless, those are the teams that have scouting that get down to a level way down here and notice players with high potential like Gary Cato. He's an 18-year-old center back who is starting to prove himself at this level. They would clearly load him out to probably a 6th tier or 5th tier kind of side for a year or two and let him develop really quick. And I'm sure he would, because he's definitely starting to take off. So it's all kind of happening in a noticeable manner now. His value is 30K. Now remember, I have protections, but those protections are reasonable. For now, he's upset, and the offers are already quickly growing. We have 3 teams submitting offers right now, 2 at the particular moment. For now, though, they're only half of his value, but I would expect that it's going to continue to rise over the next week. So at the moment, it's easy enough to reject. But at 30K value, I'd say somewhere around 45 to 50K, that's sufficiently above value, and I would have to accept a deal at that stage. My team selections have been going incredibly well. When I do the instant result route, it's been a lot of victories. This was 4-1 on the road. That was a consolation goal by McGill very late on that we turned around and answered after scoring 3 in the first half and cutting the lead in the league down to 2 points, and while pulling away further from those behind. We're more than 10 points ahead from 4th on down now. Definitely looking good. Could we win the league this year and rise? That would be really cool if we can get back to the 7th tier in this short amount of time. I thought it was going to take a lot longer than this to bring it along with the format we're going with. Well, the value is definitely coming up on the offer, but it's still below the worth. So we're okay saying no to Sunderland for now, and they waited a little while to get in with this next offer. We're almost out of time. I might be able to hang on to them just yet. Millwall's latest offer is still well below value as well, so so far so good. Well, it's Thursday, February 1st, so right about at that deadline, and Sunderland is coming in with another offer, but it's only right on the edge of what his value is. It's not excess of, so we can say no, and will. I'm really hoping this is the end of it. It's February 2nd, 9 a.m. It's Friday, so this is very likely your deadline day, and Sunderland's come right back. They are eclipsing the value now, but it's not even straight up. It's only 33K with 20 league appearances. Like, Cato's going to be... It's going to be 10 years before he's good enough to play at senior level, and it's going to be more of a they would sell him on before anything would happen. So actually, it's only 33K with a value of 30K, meaning I can say no. Like I said, it's going to take a 45, 50K straight up, not before added things, saying no. The board might intervene at some point and say yes, but I don't think they'll do it at this stage. There's Bristol City sneaking in out of nowhere with a decent size offer, but being that it's their first, not surprised that it's not a huge offer. But yeah, this must be deadline day, because here's Watford now an hour later with their own, and that's a tiny deal, 7K up front. Well, now our value is 40K, and Sunderland is only right at the edge of that with their latest offer, 42K. He's got a 40K value, so luckily we're not in substantial excess, but that is getting awfully close to that mark. It's 5 o'clock in the evening. That Sunderland one, though, is getting awfully close. Do I have to say yes? And the night's not quite done, 7 o'clock. Watford's an easy one to say no to. That's a pretty small deal, but this Hull City and Sunderland, well, Hull City's offering less on the knock-on, so I think that's your easier say no. But this Sunderland one, I don't know, that seems to be that kind of bid that I could and should say yes to. But if the board's not going to force it through, and it's almost midnight, I'm going to say no one more time, but I might be forced into a yes here. They really want him. That was the end of the day. That was their final bid coming in. So we are just escaping, and clearly with new value for Cato. Just escaping, still with his signature. I can't see the board holding out much longer on forcing that deal through. So we've got a dozen games left in the league season. We've played 30, and we find ourselves just 2 points and a goal behind the league leader. We find ourselves pulling away from the others, and we might have ourselves a really good chance here of seeing promotion this season. We've barely kept our team intact. However, there's going to be some frustration. He's asking to leave. He was unhappy that it's blocked. Now his value is 140K a day later. They see the value of the teams coming after him and recognize it. We have a deal through next season, but I'm going to have a really hard time keeping him, signing a new deal. And we might have to let him go next year. Or this summer, for that matter. So I think I pushed that about as much as I can. And yeah, we're going to be stuck moving on from him next season, quite likely. For now, though, team is performing well. Contracts are all in good shape for the next year. We're hanging on to the value we have for the time being. We are getting that growth and development. Ferret's, into that 1-star category, gold star now. So the whole first 11 is there with only a single reserve there, while we continue to get at least some development out of our reserves and our U18s. But we're starting to shift that focus away from the weaker guys into some better long-term prospects, and they're starting to catch up. They have not had a great season, those particular prospects, but otherwise things are going really well at the moment, really well. So I'm impressed with how quickly we've gotten there. It's 2029, and this team seems to be on the verge of beginning to climb the ladder. But how far can we get with these guys? Well, there's going to be limited potential for most of them. And the few that have the high potential, we're going to suffer in the way that we are right now with Cato. Big teams want him, and they're going to come and try to take him. Cashing in for 100K, that doesn't do much. That's not buying us a new stadium. A new stadium is going to be the biggest key to go forward. We've got this 5K stadium, and we're not making more money than we were in Season 1. We were making more money in Season 1 because we were a part-time club. Now that we're a full-time club, guys develop faster, but we've got the consequences of it. Everything's more expensive. It's going to do it for this one, though. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Bye for now.